Hello everyone, welcome to Edgerunners HQ. Welcome to our Cyberpunk RED talk show, Night City Sofa. I am your host, Jessica, alongside my co-host, Games End. Hey buddy.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
It's been a long week, but I am here and that's what's important.
I love having you on the sofa, so thank you for joining me. During tonight's episode of Night City Sofa, we are going to be discussing the Cyberpunk RED January 2026 DLC, Everyday People! You can get all these DLCs for free on the Talsorian Games' website or via DriveThruRPG. Each DLC provides lore as well as mechanical content. And while there, maybe consider, if you're on DriveThruRPG, consider picking up a copy of Interface RED Volume 5, which recently released. It has been updated. They made it was a good list of some minor changes. You can check that out on the blog post, actually, for this DLC release. At the bottom of it, there was a changelog, a list, but for the new supplement Solo of Fortune 2045, which is a massive edition that adds mercenary level optional gameplay. Purchasing the Interface RED books, of course, it doesn't only give you access to the exclusive article that's inside, but it's also a great way to thank the company for the DLCs that they release for free every month. Because while we get them for free, it still costs them like $3 to $5K to make. So, you know, as a small thank you, pick up like, I think it's $13 US PDF, just so they can keep making
totally
awesome content. As for the DLC itself, we're moving on. It's written and designed by Jay Gray. It gives you a method for creating everyday people to populate your streets, as well as some abbreviated stat blocks for various types, and then optional reskins for those types. So we're going to get into that in a moment. First, we, as always, start with lore. Because we love lore, because I love lore, and we're going to talk about lore. Now, when this released, I admittedly read the first line on the blog post, which is just, null chance, 24/7 growls. We keep digging. Barry deserves justice. I didn't even click the button to get to the PDF. I freaked out. So excited. And I think I posted in like the Artel Discord going, Barry! And then I posted on Blue Sky going, Barry's back! And I posted in saves, and I posted to Games, and I posted to like a bunch of other people going, guys, Barry lore!
We're big fans of Barry here.
Big fans of Barry. So, yeah, freaked out. Let's talk about Barry's investigation, which, yes, hashtag justice for Barry. We get part 3 of this continuing saga. Now, for those of you who may not know, Barry's story started in Did Someone Say Murder DLC, where he was on a call 24/7, and it was just supposed to be, I think, a throwaway character for just that supplement, and then we fell in love and just attached ourselves to Barry, and now he's on a 3-part story, and I'm so happy. So there's Did Someone Say Murder, and then continuation Going Quiet, and this is the 3rd installment where we find out that, you know, 24/7 has now got some information, made a deal with 40, the rocker boy, in exchange for an article about her album, which is a great kind of, you know, nod of like, not everything has to cost money. Yeah, if you're a media, you can use your job set to promote a musical thing instead of like bribing with actual eddies that you may or may not have. And then the solo clears up the footage. They find out that there's a meeting going down at I think it's a new location. I don't know that we have been told about the Amber Room before. Which is in the
not yet, but yeah. I assume we will soon.
I'm sure we will soon. A bar in the port of Night City that is also the headquarters for the Consortium, which is the Russian mob. Which is a great reminder that your enemies can also have headquarters from the No Place Like Home DLC. So somehow Barry's thing involves Petrocam, the thing he was investigating involves Petrocam and the Russian mob. And I'm so excited to see where this story goes. I'm not going to spoil much more, and not that there really is a lot more to spoil, but go read the story, go read the lore. It's so fantastic. Barry. Yeah. I freaked out. And then I, like, blurbed about it, and then I actually read the story, and then I freaked out a little bit more. And I was like, alright, I should probably read the supplement at this point.
Now that you've absorbed all of the Barry lore, it's time to read the book.
Yeah. Hashtag Justice for Barry.
Right? I know. At least a couple of paragraphs about Barry.
Well, what?
LCC says Barry better be heavily featured in NC 2045.
Oh, that would be nice. I don't know that he will be, because that's a travel guide, and I don't think travel guides usually talk about people, but that'd be cool.
Yeah, he needs to be the travel guide for his district.
I think, no, if I recall correctly, it could be wrong, but I believe the district guides are medias. So if 24/7 was... No, Barry was not a media. 24/7 was, like, interspersing his, like, travel quirks with, like, getting information on Barry's thing. Man, that would blow my fucking mind. That would be great, but I don't think that's going to happen. You know what would be nice, though? If there was a nod of, like, Barry's drink in the afterlife. He's not, I don't think. Like, to me, he's worth an afterlife drink. He's not, like, a Night City legend
imagine.
to have a drink. Maybe drink somewhere else. Maybe at the docks or a bar close to the docks.
He has a smoothie named after him at the 20.
Yeah, okay. I'm good with this. I'm good with this. Yep, sold. Oh, is LCC? Oh, he needs to be a guy from the districts. That would have been great, but like I said, I'm pretty sure Jay mentioned that their medias. But yeah, more Barry. I'm so excited. So excited. There's more.
We love Barry.
From here, I'm
always good to see him.
Pass it on to Games to talk about the blurb of what that exists beyond the lore, I guess.
the other nonsense that's in the book. So it starts with a section on how you can create everyday people yourself, and it walks through the stat block distribution and stuff like that, which is all pretty basic. It also mentions that this is a very similar system to the Danger Gal and all that kind of stuff, and they encourage you to flesh out the characters more than this very basic, okay, they've got 30 stats, max 6, their HP is between 20 and 35, blah, 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 blah. But, even they themselves, when we get into this next area and look at the pre-mades that they did, even they put in, more details than that. So, this is a great, quick and dirty character creator. If, for some reason, your players decide they need to find out how much the bouncer at a bar can bench press, you've got stats for it and don't have to make them up more than, I guess, you would have to make them up anyway. But you know what I mean. There are rules for these things. I like that through here it's got the stat points, which is 30 max, 30, and then max stat is 6. Skill points 30, max 10, HP, SP, all that kind of stuff. And even that they can have roll abilities up to rank 2. But if you go into any of these characters, they also all have reputation scores, which it says nothing about setting up reputation scores in the setting, making a character thing. But I won't go into full detail about this because I think at the end we're planning on making a everyday person. So we'll get into the fine details later.
Yeah, we will. I don't know why LCC's are you gonna make Barry an NPC stat block? And we were talking about it. I don't know why we didn't think of this.
We really should.
Yeah, we really should make Barry as our NPC. Yeah. Thanks for going over the overview.
Yeah.
So we're into the different types, right, that they've given us throughout this DLC.
Yeah.
So we are going to go in order, so you guys can follow along if you want. First up is, of course, the bartender, who is the go-to for gossip of a specific type. Obviously, a bar near a police station is going to get you information on what's going on, probably in the officers' lives, perhaps who works what shift, the personality of various officers, their vices. It could be a great place to pick up information if you need to break into a police station, or find out who or what you need to bribe to gain access to some files, or say the impound lot, before they sell it off for their own cash. Whereas, like, if you're new to a neighborhood, the neighborhood bar is going to be the place to learn about the clerks, the fixers, the crews in the area. So bartenders are really important as a source of information. Now the DLC also gives they give a basic bartender stat block, and then the variants of dive bar and VIP bar bartenders, and that is super important because the Atlantis is going to give a very different vibe from, say, the Randy Dandy. So having those those differences between the three types of bartenders important, so that, like, especially as a GM, you know which ones you're going to use, or how you can change things on the fly if you need something more high scale or something seedier. I also figured that bartenders can fill the well-known person in the neighborhood spot for fixers and medias. If you have, if you're playing in that role, a bartender would be a great source of information, or a good client.
Yeah, because they know everybody at their local watering hole.
Yep.
Sticking with the theme of bars, I'm going to discuss bouncers. And it's important to note that bouncers aren't just the people that kick the drunk girl out at the end of the night. Their main job is to pay attention to who's coming and going, what's going on in the place that they're bouncing at. They're basically the eyes of an establishment. Having a bouncer as a friend or contact is a great idea, because then you can get into clubs and things. They're the ones who decide who gets through the door. So I love the stat blocks for the bouncers, because let me see. Their conversation score, like they've got like conversation, deduction, like they're very focused on like the social aspect of it. And I appreciate that, because each of them kind of have different stat blocks, because whoever built the pre-gens kind of put some thought into it. So I appreciate that they're very social based characters. They also, the default bouncer in here gets combat awareness too, which I think is a great thing for a bouncer to have. And then variants are the society party bouncer, or just general hired muscle. And so the archetypes are not necessarily like everything. Like, sure, the bartender were two different types of bartenders, and the bouncers two different types of bartenders, but you'll see as we go through the list that it's also going to be people that are very similar roles as that too. So I'm passing it back to you, Jess. Sorry.
Okay, cool. I just want to make sure. Next on the list are buskers, who have a rocker boy role of 2, and they are great inspiration, especially if you're playing a rocker boy. I think if you're, have these humble beginnings before you make it big, these could be some great ideas. But they are also, I think, fantastic means to bribe or pay to keep an eye on a location without drawing any sort of attention, and then send signals when someone you're looking for enters the area. So if you're, if you scouted an area and trying to steal, I don't know, a key card off of an exec or something, or a secretary or something, and you know that they always take their lunch at this coffee shop around this time, having a busker out front that you've paid to just be like, play this song when you see this person, is a fantastic opportunity to get what you need and have a connection that's just on the street as a street NPC. In the book, they have like your regular busker, but then the variants are mime, street magician, and street poet. If you're gonna use a street magician, maybe something with fake birds, something loud.
I love the street magician because I had never thought about street magicians in the dark future because it's just such a weird concept. Like, mimes make perfect sense to me in the dark future. Magicians do not. So, like, the reference to it, I'm like, that's cool. Like, pictures, like, a Chris Angel figure that I'm gonna blow your mind.
With all the subdermal pockets you can get, street magician doesn't seem dark future to you?
I just had never thought of it as dark future. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. So I think, and then I thought about it with buskers first, but you can really do this with any NPC, as LCC mentioned. Any of the ones here are great resources for a crew as a player, not just as a GM, because this can seem very GM focused, but as a player to be like, just even having ideas to be like, oh hey, can I maybe do X? Instead of it just being on the crew, using the individuals on the street who, you know, if you find a drug addict, give them a dose of synth, and yeah, who knows what they'll be able to do.
Next up I have the construction worker, which, with the fact that there's always reconstruction and the skyline is constantly growing, there are construction workers everywhere. They are so obvious they're oblique. So think about, like, your characters posing as construction workers, or like the information you can get from construction people. Like in our regular Saturday campaign we've dealt with the construction industry quite a bit, actually. And I think, like, I didn't think about them having stat blocks, but it's super helpful that they do. So, yeah. Oh, and in here it also talks about, when you're talking about variants, they talk about construction droid operators, nomad construction workers, and specialist construction workers. And I liked, like, the construction droid operator, like somebody whose job it is to just, like, fly around a welding robot all day. Like, I think that's cool.
For sure. I will say too, because in the flavor description, it does mention HF&S construction, which we haven't heard from before. Hopefully we will with the new source block. And for, you know, speaking of the drone operator, this person loves driving the elephant. Or
another Zarifa.
Elephant. So, I want my stats for an elephant drone. Let's go.
Right?
But yeah, a drone operator, not even just a welding drone, like moving an entire elephant, like just moving. Let's go.
Right.
Next up is the corporate researcher. And per the DLC, these are the unsung heroes of the corporate world. They are the ones who do all the research to provide facts for the higher ups. Some examples they mention are accountants, forensic librarians, data analysis. You could add paralegals, anyone in the medical field that does data analysis or billing, researchers in larger media companies. You know, not the people that are going to be on air, not the people that are writing the articles, the people that are stuck doing the research to give that data to the person writing the articles. Man, Moxie could use an assistant, let me tell you. She could use a researcher to just be like, please find me this information.
Right.
Variants are forensic accountant, and more coolly, the conspiracy theorist. Which makes a lot of sense, given that a conspiracy theorist has to go through a lot of research. Yeah. You know, because they're always checking all the reports, all their data on their very specific, very niche thing. But they would have.
And they're able to see between the lines, but they probably know more about that thing than most people do in that field.
Oh, yeah. And I like that. So like you replace accounting with deduction, you replace business with criminology, you know. So you tailor it to what they need, while keeping most of the stat block intact.
Yeah.
I would love to run into more conspiracy theorists out on the street.
I could see it.
I would say I would love it. I would love it in passing. I don't think I think my character would have an aneurysm.
It would drive you crazy
with a conspiracy theory. Depending on it. At this point, I think she's kind of, according to the world, a conspiracy theorist.
Actually, I would say Wraith for sure is.
Yeah, but Ray's a conspiracy theorist about, like, any idea that pops in his head. Like, he doesn't do the research. He just kind of says, oh yeah. Now he's he's a great promoter of conspiracy theories.
He's the celebrity that believes in, like, whatever your conspiracy theory is.
Yes.
It's like, oh my god, the chemtrails are turning the frogs gay.
Yep. Maybe that's what you should do. Maybe that's what we should do, is create his own conspiracy theory talk show. Have conspiracy theorists on it, and then he can just promote them and agree.
This is a brilliant idea.
You would lose so much credibility.
I was also thinking ELL could have used more conspiracy theorists.
Yeah. Actually, conspiracy theorists on, what was it, that ad that we saw in one of the DLCs that says your cyberware isn't as safe as you think it is?
Yeah.
That would be a really good conspiracy theory.
Yeah. Some of the art from the 2045 book that we really examined, there's a lot of, like, heavy conspiracy stuff in there. So we're like, what does this mean?
Oh, the cover art?
Yeah.
Yeah, from that they released. Yeah, a lot of that was just, like, artist interpretation, but some of it wasn't. Some of it wasn't. Yes, the Santa one from Interface Red Volume 4. That's it.
Yeah.
Also, my conspiracy theory that, what was it? The water thing that we got in 12 Days of Vehicle Miss is Santa's workshop.
Makes perfect sense.
It looks like a Rudolph symbol. The HD looks like HO. I'm just saying.
Coincidence? We think not.
Yeah. There you go. There's a conspiracy
theorist. Oh my god, we should start a conspiracy theorist corner of her nightstand sofa of just reading too much into books and coming up with conspiracy theories.
Actually, if you guys have a conspiracy theory you want to pitch us, post it on the Reddit, on the Edgerunners HQ Reddit subreddit, and we will if we get enough, we'll make an entire show on conspiracy theories. I promise you, we will do that.
I can already think of several I need to post.
Perfect. So if you want a conspiracy theorist, take a look at the Corporate Researcher.
Next up, I have deal makers, and everybody knows that guy that, like, is like, no, I can get a hold of that for you. I know somebody. Like, there's the big fixers that everyone knows their names and stuff like that. But sometimes you can't afford them, or they want nothing to do with you because you're not cool enough for them. But there's local deal makers that are more than willing to get things figured out for you. It may be dubious at best, but these are the people you turn to when you can't go to a regular fixer. And I love that. I love just the idea of that. And the variants on there are like the freelance Joy Toy, the bookie, and the snitch. Like, just this group of people that are not so trustworthy, but, like, definitely necessary to the world. I love them.
I like it for street level campaigns too, because when you're just starting off, these are some of the NPCs you can use before, you know, if you don't want to start as an established thing, if you really want to start ground level.
Right.
These are
I think a lot of
these are
these
your low level fixers until an actual fixer cares enough to notice you.
a lot of these low level, these everyday people in this book are great for the street level games.
Oh yeah.
Because they're your introduction to actual professionals.
Yeah. I feel like once you've started and like made a name for yourself, interacting with like some of these are gonna be less so, but I mean, if I ever made a gambling character, I would go back to a bookie constantly, not gonna lie.
Right.
And a low level bookie, because let's be honest, I'm never gonna have the money to spend top tier to spend at a top
like
tier
a corporate bookie.
Yeah.
Well, and you and I had talked about this also, and this would have been the rank. This would have been my character from our Indie Bandits game.
No.
Was 100% this.
No. Your character is upcoming.
You think so?
I promise you.
Fair enough.
I can't remember what it's in, but when we get there, you'll be like, oh yeah, it was this one. Moving on though to Glitter Kids, who are the teens and 20-something children of the city's corporate elite and always on the lookout for a good time and new experience. These are fantastic to add to clubs, bars, skate parks, piranha parties, around universities and colleges. Glitter Kids are fantastic opportunities for a crew to gain information on the corporate world, and perhaps a great grift to exchange party information or advice of choice for some prim threads and a name to use at a gate to get inside somewhere they need to go into. Like, there is so much you could do with a Glitter Kid as like a source of information or a plot device.
That's a fantastic point.
You know, the variants in this one include the disinherited scion, who may be willing to screw over their parent and that corporation, so that might be a lot easier than, say, the rich college student who may be a little less inclined to help out. But also there's the Inquisitor recruit, which I really liked, because the Inquisitors are a gang, aka cult, that hate cyberware and tear it out of people. And so even though they're not like, you know, corporate elite, they have that kind of funding that recruiters are considered a variant to the Glitter Kid. And that is both lovely and terrifying.
For sure. LCC brought up the point that these everyday people can also grow with the characters, starting off as everyday people, moving to mooks, lieutenants, etc. as the story continues. So you can watch these characters grow alongside of you.
You could.
So.
I feel like it depends on the character.
Right. I don't foresee a Glitter Kid growing into a lot of things, but like...
Well, it depends.
Some of these, for sure.
It depends. Yeah, some of them would, I think. I'm thinking about our current campaign. And, like, Tim, the freelance joy toy, he's not going to grow. That's his thing. He's
go out and become a business owner?
No, Tim is dumb as a box of fucking rocks. He is not going to be a business owner. But we have seen other NPCs grow because, you know, we attached or we helped them out or...
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. They can be more if your crew attaches to them. And I feel like, and you know what?
Let them.
That's one of the things I wanted to mention, so thank you for bringing this up. It's kind of like Barry. You know, Barry was this throwaway NPC as like kind of a part of a story for this one specific supplement, and then we attached to him so well that now there's a continuation of a story. And that's exactly what, you know, players do with NPCs is we collect them. We collect our NPC buddies, and some, you know, don't some we don't, some we do, but the ones that we
Have
do and we help
longevity.
can grow and continue, and you get invested interest. And I think that's very important for any storyteller or GM out there. Is if your players attached to the NPC, give them more of that NPC. It's like that's something that they love. Add it.
Well,
Encourage it.
and if you're throwing in a flavor text character just as a throwaway, and your players fall in love with them, that means you did a good job of creating a character that they love. And you've made your world that much more interesting by doing so. So, sometimes it's annoying, but that's okay.
Blank and I constantly get confused why everybody loves Tank. Like neither of us understand the love for Tank.
The audience really loved Tank.
I do. We do not know why, but yeah, he's very memorable NPC. Oh, LCC, if only. Said, and now we wait for Barry to become a hearted boss FBC with an ACPA ready to be a travel guide for the war zones of the Free States.
One day. Well, and like A Christmas Story, Barry's story begins with, and Barry was dead to begin with.
Yeah.
I'm gonna talk about the graffiti artists next. Every culture has an artist that immortalizes moments in indelible paint. In modern times, it's a graffiti artist. From gangers to teenagers just tagging, to a modern day Bob Ross creating beautiful murals on the landscape. I like what graffiti artists like. They're a little bit harder to use as characters. Granted, I have managed to use them in our game before this came out, but just for what they mean for the background, you know, to have a Banksy in your local area can be interesting, you know.
I have. I'm sorry, I found this photo like forever ago on Pinterest while I was, scrolling for outfits for Moxie. And this woman posed in front of, like, as the body of graffiti butterfly wings. So it was like her in her urban dystopian outfit in front of pretty bright purple butterfly wings. And it made me think that this would be such a cool rocker boy character who uses graffiti art as a way to send messages and fight back. And whether that rocker boy is the person in the picture, or whether they hire models, that's entirely up to you. But, making a statement that's semi-permanent depending on, the building and how fast they'll paint over it. To send a message, I think, is just a really cool way, because when people think rocker boy, like 90% of what I hear back is like musician, and I'm like, there's other options. So I love that this is now.
Yeah, motivational speakers are rocker boys too.
Mm-hmm. Politicians too.
Yep.
Yeah. So I've been holding on to that for a while, and then to see it here, I was like, this is perfect.
Yeah.
Have these graffiti artists making statements on the walls, in alleys, on buildings.
Yeah. Because even as a backdrop thing, they're just really interesting. As far as the variants go, they talk about digital graffiti artists, and they also include urban explorers in here, which I feel like is a weird reach, because the urban explorer is very different in my mind from the graffiti artists, but I can see spiritually how they're similar.
It makes me think of what DLC was it in? I'm gonna screw this up so badly. I don't remember which book, which DLC it's in. But the ones who tag the tower in the hot zone to see who can climb up to the tower and tag it.
Yeah.
So urban explorers are it's similar in that vein to me, is where they, they explore these niche places, or these places that they're not supposed to be, probably construction sites a lot of the time too. And instead of like leaving their mark, they probably film it. and showcase that as well. So yes, fashion models as rocker boys. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I can see it. It is. I think it's because like artist, you don't instantly think urban explorer when you think artist, but
Right.
I feel you. Sorry, is it my turn? I feel like I took over your segment. Yep. I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay for us to have back and forth conversations.
Okay. So next up is the Guerrilla Gardener, and the flavor text of this you should read. It's golden. It also calls gently to an official gig from Tales of the Red Hope Reborn, but reminds you that Continental brands will go after any and all Guerrilla Gardeners if they hear about them. Starting a garden can be just as deadly as it is beneficial. So, you know, the flavor text kind of reminds you that you need specific soil as well to start a garden. Not any soil is going to work. So it's going to be a costly endeavor. It could be a dangerous endeavor. But I also think it's a fantastical for street level mission to help your neighborhood, if you can keep Continental brands at bay.
Yeah, when we read in one of the books that you could get, I think it was chickens or cows. Chickens. My character was all about like we could have a community garden and we could have cows for milk and.
Yeah, your rocker boy who has grown up an urban street punk his whole life wanted to start farming.
Yeah, for sustainability.
I will say one of the variants is a guerrilla chicken tender. There's also an outskirts farmhand. So absolutely 100% viable. I think these are great jumping points too for missions if you want to write them, and they're great for you as a player if like games you're like, I really want to do this, and you know you actually started looking for a chicken tender garden.
Yeah, it was the night market.
Sorry?
Where I read about live animals.
Yeah, I think it was Street Stories, because you were looking for through the just the back end price guide of like new cyber and stuff, yeah. And you saw chickens and chicken coop, and you were like, oh, we need chickens.
It's only $50 for chickens.
Yeah, chickens are only 50. Yeah, we could do that.
No, I think it was pigs that really sold me, because I was like, think about it. You buy a pig for 100 EB, you cut it up into bacon, you could make a profit off of every pig.
But yeah, I think it could be a very cool endeavor for your street level campaign as a goal. And there's like multiple steps, right? Because you need to have a space to put the soil, you need to have the right soil or a way to, you know, clean it from all the pollution that's in it. Then you need the seeds, which
the water, the seeds
has been listed in, I think, Night City Atlas gives you a place where you can actually buy gardening seeds and supplements. So there's that. At least you have a location. Yeah. And then how do you keep it out of knowledge from Continental brands? And how do you defend it when they eventually find it?
Right. Or just gangers come to steal your stuff because you have and they don't.
Or anyone coming to steal your stuff because you have and they don't.
Right.
So. I would love... I'm really sad that they didn't add a garden as an option in the HQ DLC. I think...
Yeah, that would have made sense.
I know somebody homebrewed it. I think it was null. I could be very wrong, so if I am so sorry. But I know someone did come up with like a garden as a headquarters room. Now, I do feel because the morale boost or whatever, you can create whatever room you want. So, toss a garden in there.
For sure.
But I like the idea of a community garden that, you know, your entire neighborhood can benefit. It might have been Jolly.
For sure.
It might have been Jolly. Jolly or
Oh,
no,
yeah.
I think it was one of them.
I remember you and I discussing like all the homebrew HQ stuff at one point. So
Anywho, gardeners and chicken tenders. I like that they're called chicken tenders to be like. It's a great pun. Thank you for that, Jay.
Next up, I have laborers, and laborers are the people who actually do all of the jobs everywhere. I love that in the description of them, it talks about how, like, yeah, you could hire a robot to do a job, but then you have to maintenance the robot, and robots are expensive to replace. People are less expensive to replace. So, like, these are the expendable cogs in the machine. And, like, you don't think about them, but they are literally everywhere because without them, nothing would function. The variants that it includes are deckhands and forklift drivers and basically anybody who's just trying to do their job.
Barry.
He probably falls under laborers.
Oh, absolutely. Next up is Line Cook, and we're given a new food truck name called Captain Cajun's Nifty Nuggets. Food trucks are, of course, all over Night City. Some are cheap, some are expensive. Line cooks are the ones making the worst food taste great. And I've been curious about like what skill you'd use for cooking. And per the stat block, I think like basic tech is used for being able to like, you know, actually use the utensils properly. But I like that there's science culinary as a skill to know how to cook, and in this case, more importantly, what flavors mix well with each other. Like, how are you going to get kibble or grilled rat to taste like something people will pay you to eat? Honestly, I might even consider making like a mandatory like 2 points for character creation if you want, like in science culinary, just to know the basics of cooking.
Yeah.
You know, like I feel like that makes a lot of sense. And yay for more science skills, because we don't see that a lot.
Yeah.
So I was real happy about that. Now the variants for the line cook include the data pool performer / chef and a food truck owner. And in the single player GM-less game, single player mode GM-less game that Games and I did here on the show, we did at one point receive backup in the form of a food truck owner. And at the time we didn't have the stat block. It would have been so great to have the stat block at the time because they helped us fight off some gangers. And I think at the time I was like, I don't know, we'll make it a base 10, his weapon. I don't know what he's got. Sure. Also, as a player, if you want to learn how to cook, maybe you follow a data pool chef. Or perhaps you're looking for a more unique media / rocker boy combo, and a data pool performer or chef is the perfect combination for you. So, lots of options here.
I also love that the cover art of this features this character.
Yeah.
And that they have a big butcher's cleaver as one of their hands.
You know what? Me and someone else were talking that we should do a kind of like a tech tool hand or like the surgery hand, but it's literally just different types of utensils and culinary things. Like so I saw that. So I saw that. So I was like, yeah, how great would it be where you're just like take off the cleaver, put in the spatula, take off the spatula, put in like a small frying pan. I'm like, yes, this should be a thing. Utensil upgrade.
Everything you need for cooking. Cooking in you. Moving on to the neighborhood tech. So the world of the time of the Red, everything's kind of built to work until it breaks, and then you have to go out and buy the new iPhone. The neighborhood tech represents the right to fix. It is, the neighborhood kid that comes over to fix your parents' AOLs because they're not working. It's the person that in the neighborhood that knows how to fix things, and so regardless of what ridiculous thing you have, you just take it to them and you're like, hey, I've got this drug analyzer that doesn't work. Can you fix this? Like, and I love that because, like, this is the lowest level tech you can be. But it is a very real and necessary part of society. And they also in variants discuss the neighborhood mechanic and reclaimer tax. And I like that because I didn't think about mechanics as far as that goes. Because there's usually, like, like, I know my neighbors got jacks and would come help me if, I needed to work on my car for some reason. Like, it's cool to have that camaraderie and not be like, I have to find a nomad that is competent to come help me. Like, to just be like, no, this guy understands how combustion engines work. So
I've often thought about mechanics and just having, like, because there have to be in Night City, right? Like, not everything is done through Nomad. So I've always been like, there has got to be mechanics in the city where I could take my vehicle and be like, please fix this. Just turn the engine light warning off. Just turn it off. Done.
Well, and, like, even at dealerships, if you think about it, a tech isn't gonna, like, a corp isn't gonna be like, hey, the check engine light on my limousine's on, I gotta go find a nomad. They're gonna take it to the dealership who employs mechanics.
Who employs techs, yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, I was super thrilled to see that variant.
Yeah.
And on the topic of low-level skills, your low-level med techs, we have paramedics. Now, these are the ones who work on the streets, in stores, clinics. They take a hands-on learning approach, less of a doctorate, I went to school kind of approach. These are the ones you'll find working in ambulances or ambunauts. Working, if you get, like, one of those fashion installs that are at, like, a mall or clinic level, chances are this is the stat block you're going to use.
I was going to say lifeguards also. Not that they come up often, but this would totally be where lifeguards would fit because they have to know a certain amount of medical knowledge, but they're not doctors, so this would be a perfect stat block to use.
Actually, very much so. Because I was trying to think, I was like, well, you're not going to go swimming in the bay because the bay is gross. But I was like, people have yachts and speedboats, so there's definitely lifeboats. But, like, in the Beaverville sections, right, the higher, like, the executive zone and Charter Hill, yeah, there's probably community pools.
Right.
Like, well-maintained community pools that definitely need lifeguards.
Right.
So, yeah.
Rich people need to be protected from themselves.
At all costs. Unfortunately, lifeguard isn't one of the variants they've given us, but it's a variant you can use. We do have assistant pharmacist and fashion wear artist. And for the pharmacist, there's less of a focus on the medical side and an increase in what I would consider as customer service skills. They take down, like, quite a few of the medical stuff and more, here's conversation, here's human perception, know the people that you're talking to and be able to explain these drugs. But I do really love the variant of fashion wear artist. But because we've gone to, like, we're like, what can we go to a tattoo artist? But if you're getting a light tattoo, yeah, it would be a fashion wear artist, right? But also biomonitors, chem skin, EMP threading, tech hair, all of that, all of your fashion wear from any other DLC, an artist is going to be there. And there's probably, if not at this level, if you increased it, a MOOC level gang member or gang affiliate, because I was thinking about this and I was like, like Tiger Claw, they have, they all get tattooed, light tattooed. That's gotta be by a fashion wear artist. I doubt, if they don't have a specific building in their territory that they're monitoring, like, they're not gonna go to some random. Like, that's gotta be a dedicated individual.
I'm sure they have, like, this is their person, yeah.
Exactly. Who could be a great source of information as a thought, or, if you wanted to come from a background of a gang and you're an artist, maybe that's what you did.
Right.
So I really like
there's some good ends with that.
Yeah, the fashion wear artist as a variant. Gave me lots of ideas.
I have scavvers, and I always think of scavvers as kind of terrible people. Mostly, I think because of Fallout. But honestly, the scavvers are just the disenfranchised people. They're, doing whatever they need to survive. And sometimes that's finding things that are other people's trash and turning it into treasure and selling it on the street in day markets and things. Because they're just a group of people that are trying to make it, and they're not capable of existing in regular society. They are a lot like the Fallout scavvers too, though I'm not gonna say they're all good guys, but the variants include scaver muscle, solitary scavers, and tunnel rats. And I would hate to be in the old Undercity and run into a gang of scavers. That would be terrifying.
But I do like that it's here because you're right. When I first think scavers, I don't think Fallout, but I do think the ones that will actively go out of their way to kill you, lay a trap, and harvest whatever they can. You don't initially think of just those who are disenfranchised that are maybe running through junkyards of the corporations, risking their lives just to get a broke-ass toaster that they can take to their neighborhood tech mechanic to maybe earn 5M to eat that week,
Right.
So I like that it kind of made, it was like, yeah, some scavengers are just, humans that scavenge things, not people. Things.
They're not all evil.
All right, next we have the Scream Sheet Writer. The flavor text in this one references a mission in Tales of the Red Hope Reborn, and I love that they've added these little tie-ins and nods, which are really, really cool. Did we mention the tie-in in the bartender section? Did we forget?
No, you did. You mentioned it.
Did you?
I'm fairly sure.
If we didn't, there's...
Oh, no, I didn't.
Yeah! Go ahead. Mention it now.
So, in the bartender section, it does mention, the character using the Drinkmaster 5000 to whip up a... What are they called? Sugary Sweet? Is the name of the... Sugar Rush. Which is a direct reference to something that is not canon. And I've been assured is not canon, but this is a canon reference to it, so mixing drinks and changing lives is 100% canon.
It's not, but it does give a nod and tie into the Mixing Drinks Changing Lives DLC in the Valhalla game there. This one has a little tie and nod to Hope Reborn, and I like that they've done that. It's just not new flavor text, but it links to other works. And I think that's fantastic. As for the stat block, these are your low-level medias. Variants include Data Pool Livecaster and Nomad Presents Radio Reporter. If you're a Scream Sheet Writer, chances are you work for some media outlet, whether it's Neo, Mega Corporation, like WorldSat or a small news station. You likely have someone that you report to. As a freelancer, someone's paying for your articles. So even if you give it to the Augmented Optic and you want to get paid, you're still working for someone else. A Data Pool Livecaster could work for a corporation or work for themselves, surviving off of tips from the audience and perhaps some ad revenue, which we've seen in the opening story of Hope Reborn. Now, Nomad Presents Radio means you're connected with a Nomad crew, and that's tons of options for low-level medias that are around Night City that may be able to get you information, or, a Nomad that's thinking of transitioning over. Blending those two roles is really cool. Yeah, that's all I got. Scream Sheet Writer.
Next up, I have security guards. These are your nemesis as street level edge runners. This is the guy at the bodega that stops you from stealing the candy that you're trying to steal. Um, like, I like not every business needs security, and most businesses have some form of security. Most of them, however, cannot afford to hire Militech to be their security guards, so they hire people who didn't make it through Militech training or used to be cops. And I love the like this is the Mul Blart character type, and I love it. Um, and the variants that are in there are the camera watcher and the Moonlight Beat Cop, and I think that's just like so much about what the security guard is like, and like, all right. IRL, I know plenty of people who are very good people that are security guards. I'm not talking down about their job. But in the pretend dark future, all security guards are jerks.
You're gonna meet the nicest security guard one day, and it's going to throw you for a loop. He just wants to be your friend, just wants to help you out. Real friendly, like, I wish I could let you in, man, but I can't. I'd lose my job, and I've got 3 kids to feed, but how can I help you other than letting you in?
Alright, but look. I have this new album coming out.
Oh yeah, tell me all about it. Spends 20 minutes just talking to the guy. The next stat block I guess we get is for store clerks. I'm not going to say a lot about this one. Every store has a clerk. Now you have stats for them. Apart from the base store clerk stats, you get the variants of small bodega clerk, a specialty store clerk, and garage attendant. Now for the specialty store clerk, I figure cyber pets, because they do exist. It's probably Biotechnica owned, but there's probably a Biotechnica pet shop that you can buy cyber pets from that's still linked to the company. Or in the Halloween Scream Sheet DLC, there was the mention of Bonbons, which is a high-end chocolatier shop. So that would be a example of a specialty store. And that's where you have those variants. So, if you need a clerk, you got your stat blocks.
I have street rats next. And street rats are basically in the dark future. Not everyone is cut out to be a wage slave or an edge runner or even a normal productive member of society. Some people are just trying to make it, and that's who these people are. Their variants are opportunistic burglars, wannabe fixers, and failed edge runners. These are the most everyday average of people that are down on their luck because there is no middle class in the dark future. So,
Wannabe fixer. That's what your character was.
you think he would be in the street rat category?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Oh yeah.
And Dahlia would be the neighborhood fixer, or
Yep.
Yeah, the neighborhood tech.
Mm-hmm. And Silo and Carrie were store clerks. So you can, for my game, because my game was ideally the game that I GM'd was supposed to be focused on ELO, and we were doing an ELO game, and that was going to be the focus, but I wanted them to have lives outside of that weren't actual edge running roles. They were just your everyday people. And it didn't have this, it didn't have stat blocks, so it was just your everyday Joe. So that's kind of, it's neat to see these stat blocks now and just kind of have a frame of reference of where they would have been.
Yeah.
Also, LCC says the failed edge runner is so sad the medical grade cyber limbs tell a story for just being there. 100%.
Yep.
100%. Man, that would be such a, the person in the bar that's always in there trying to tell their one glory story that's the same thing that they didn't make it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be, and you could tell such an interesting, like, and impactful, like, get across the, like, hint, hint, this doesn't work out for everybody kind of moment.
Yeah. Also, if you're a player, this could be maybe a friend that you rolled on your life path as a failed edge runner.
Yeah.
Tug at the heartstrings of your fellow table mates.
Tear them down.
Yep, make them feel bad. make those low empathy characters feel empathy. Next up is the taxi driver. Not everyone has a car. Oftentimes, public transit is too slow to get where you want to go on time, so you call a cab. There are various cab types and companies all over Night City, which is wonderful that they give us a list. There's Aero Cab, Red Cab, Tiger Cab, and of course the famous Combat Cab. Plus any number of pedicab and water taxi services, all with a human driver or pilot, at least for now. So very important to note that in the time of the Red, Delamain is, if you were coming from the video game or, I don't know if it's in the anime. Definitely from the video game, Delamain does not exist. You have a human driver or pilot for these vehicles. So if you need stats for a taxi driver, you have them right here, which is great if your crew took a taxi and they start getting shot at. With variants for the combat cab, combat cab driver, and the petty cab driver. Because again, if you could be taking a rickshaw, they could be on a bicycle. So now you have those stats. Cab drivers can also be a fantastic source for a media. A great or starting job for a nomad. Heck, a cab, or that's right, I did think about this. A cab company might make for a cool, unconventional nomad pack.
Right. You like have your own independent cab company that's a nomad pack?
The pack is the cab company, yeah. So you have access to your vehicles, you have access to parts. If one of your cabbies gets, like, screwed over, if one member messes with that pack, like, the entire taxi service is going to come down, and I think that'd be a really cool story for a nomad pack in city.
You know what's crazy? In 2020, our headquarters where we all lived was an abandoned cab company.
Bring it back.
That's just what that reminded me of.
Bring it back. Bring back the cab companies.
And then last up... Oh, sorry.
That's all I had for taxi driver.
I was going to say, last up we have the wage slave. For every maid man and glittery woman in the corporate world, there are hundreds of people in the background that really do the jobs that make them rich. And that is, all of the employees at the company. The nameless, faceless minions. Which, as far as the researchers and stuff can fall under other categories. But there are a lot of people that work in a company that don't fall under those previous categories. They're just like, yeah, this is my 9 to 5. I go to work and I come home. The variants in here include small business owners and weekend warriors. And I like the mention of the wage slave as, like, they're everywhere. Like,
yeah.
I think that's all.
And that's all of them.
Wage slave.
So,
yeah.
If there is something that you are looking to add, chances are the stat block is here, or with a few minor tweaks, one of them can be used perfectly as a template.
Yeah, because we were originally discussing what we were going to do for making our own, and we're like, almost everything we can think of falls under one of these pre-mades pretty much.
Yeah.
Like, we had to get real creative to find things that weren't already pretty well covered.
Because even with Barry, as I'm thinking about, building Barry, he'd be a laborer. He's nothing special. Yeah. He would be a laborer.
Right. They did a really good job. These 20 pre-mades.
Yeah. I think the other ones I had was if it was like a Sky Queen crew member. I think is what we were going to to roughly look at.
Yeah.
And but again, it depends on what it is, because if it's just like, I guess if it's like, if you're a cleaner who's, you know, working to make sure all the rooms are, you know, tidy, and there's, you know, you're cleaning vomit off the floor, whatever, probably labor. If you're working in one of the bars on the Sky Queen, bartender. If you're repairing the machines or anything that breaks down, your neighborhood tech, like...
Well, I was going to say even like an engine room operator, right? Because in a dirigible, that is a very different job, and it doesn't really fall under anything else. That still kind of works, though, for the construction worker, because of like the drone operator and stuff like that. Like, it's still the same basic, you know, you're running a machinery that does a thing.
Yeah. Jorge has a question. Are there any content creators, food critics, that sort of thing? Yes! In the DLC, not specifically. You could do the Scream Sheet Writer, the data pool livecaster could easily be converted into a food critic. I would say just swap...
Or a content creator.
Sorry?
Or a content creator.
Yeah, or a content creator. Just swap some things that, you know, that you'll need for that specific thing. Or, again, the line cook variant of the data pool performer / chef probably also has little bits and pieces where it's content creator, like, you can look at that and make it quite easily, like, change it quite easily into what you need. And again, these are for, like, super low-level street people. So
right,
if you want like a high tier food critic, don't use the stat block. Or like up the stat block a bit, because they're not going to be like a level 2 media if they're, you know, going around interviewing 5-star restaurants. These are like foot in the door trying to make a name for themselves. Super small. I would be a tiny NPC content creator. That's I think where I sit right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would be like way up there.
Yeah, with all that traffic you get on MySpace.
My MySpace following is so big.
Did you ever fix the MySpace page?
No, it won't let me upload a photo, so I was able to make one, but it's completely blank other than our name, because it will not let me modify anything on there.
That's hilarious. But yeah, skyrocketing with your MySpace page.
Yeah.
So hopefully that helped, Jorge. Thank you for your question. Oops, my earbuds falls like completely out. I hadn't considered actual like a food critic, so that's a good shout.
Yeah, for sure. And you can go really interesting places with a food critic as a character.
Yeah. Yeah, I would either look at the data performer in Line Cook or the Scream Sheet, the data pool livecaster under Scream Sheet Writer as your template.
Mm-hmm.
And again, add like science culinary as, you know, one of the skills instead.
A food critic is sitting somewhere between a rocker boy and a media in my mind, you know, like they're trying to influence people, but also like they're reporting on something.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. Jorge says, are there even any 5-star restaurants in Night City? Absolutely. They're in the executive zone. You'll probably never taste them, but absolutely.
We'll find out more about that in the Night City 2045 source book, I'm sure.
We will. I'm trying to think in the Night City Atlas. There were...
What's the one that my team's about to go to tomorrow?
I don't know that that's a canon restaurant.
I thought that was. We've been to a few. Like, we've been to Neptune.
No, you haven't.
We've been to a few places.
No, you haven't. When you say Neptune, I think you're thinking Atlantis, and I can tell you for a fact you've not been to the Atlantis.
I am thinking Atlantis.
I think you might have gone to the Paradiso Terrestre, which is the upscale Southern Neo-Italian place where meals are by appointment only in Little Europe.
I might have. I remember when I was trying to promote for all the concerts to lead up to the big thing.
Mm-hmm.
Spoilers. I was making a point of saying I was going to a lot of high-end places and a lot of dive places.
Yeah. There's La Lune Bleu, which is a high-end French restaurant. Again, probably not 5 stars. But up there. It's Upper Marina.
Yeah.
I'm now curious, so of course I'm like, okay, what's in Charter Hill? Did we get one? Oh, Bellamia's in Charter Hill. So that's possible. The exec zone, there's nothing listed, which I kind of love. So yes, I can't see us not finding out more in Night City 2045 when that eventually releases.
Yep.
But a food critic would be really interesting to do. I feel like you could do it either Rocker Boy or media or a combination of both, depending on what you want to do. Because there are food critics that are just medias, so they don't have that like social following. But there are ones that are, influencers, right? Like if that's your Rocker Boys, your food influencer, or your combination of the two.
Right.
That would be a really interesting character concept. Dude, you could actually get the achievement badge for going to all the bars because... or a bar in every district, because that would be part of your job. Right. Oh, the menus at those places would be... I would cry, and it would be awesome at the same time. The prices would make me cry. But it would be
I remember going into a 3 Michelin star restaurant that is in a ski town near me, and of course nothing has prices, so I ordered something that seemed reasonably priced. I got a pumpkin ravioli. That was still $93 for 3 pumpkin ravioli.
Yeah, I was like, the moment you were like, there was no prices on the menu, I was like, oh buddy.
I knew somebody who knew the head chef, and he's like, yeah, my buddy said we gotta try his restaurant out, so we went in there, and I was like, everyone else is ordering whatever they want off the menu. Me, I'm like, what looks cheap?
What can I afford?
I'd like to try some of your not fancy water and a breadstick, please.
Breadsticks are $2 each. We're going to go into our thoughts on this DLC, but please let us know yours, and so we can read them out and what we think. Would appreciate it. ZC says bro went to the place where all the dishes were 100 and he was expecting 50 at most. Dude, I remember in game I went to it was a place of my own creation, but it was like a nomad like bar or whatever, but because they were nomad linked to like an outskirt farm, they actually had on occasion real beef, and I ordered like 2 steaks, and the GM was like, let's 500 each, and I was like, seems much, even though it's real, like that seems much. Yeah. Fried rats, yeah. Fried bean paste, absolutely. A lot of stuff made with soy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Near food,
because real food is expensive. But yeah, what are your final thoughts on this DLC?
I love it. I think it just adds more 3-dimension to the world, and you can create interesting NPCs, and less on the spot, because we're constantly like, okay, we met this cab driver, now he needs to help us escape from the tiger claw. And so it's nice to be able to be like, alright, yeah, but go to page 8 of the Everyday People DLC.
Yeah.
So That's my feelings.
Were we able to change your
appreciate
opinion
it.
on this, on your usefulness?
Yeah, coming into it, I have a hard time with anything that I feel is too storyteller focused. Anything that doesn't feel like I as a player can use it, even though I spend quite a bit of time telling stories, I still prefer most things to be player facing. And so when I first started reading this, I was like, this is a stupid storyteller book. But then, like, as I'm reading it, like, the way you and I presented each of the characters is that we were focused more on, like, how they interact with the world, and I think that that goes a long way to make it more player facing.
Absolutely.
So.
And I did enjoy the intro when it was like, these are your people where you can, bribe the janitors, etc., etc. My character did that, and I remember getting static from the rest of the party because it's like, well, you have a netrunner in your crew, you could call, but my character was doing something on their own. And instead, I bribed the janitor to be led up the passkey coded elevator because I didn't have one. I couldn't break into it. My character doesn't have tech as my dump stat. So I bribed a janitor to let me into the elevator and up to the floor I needed, and it worked perfectly fine.
Yep.
So I liked having a DLC that, gives stats and gives ideas to help flesh out the world that are outside, like the crew's roles and other ways you can think about approaching a situation. But also ways to flesh out your life path. If you have a tragic lover, you could honestly roll a 22d10s and find out what they did. What were they?
Yeah.
Before they tragically died, or who your enemy, well, maybe not your enemy, depending on what they can throw at you. If they can't throw a lot at you, hey, roll on the NPCs, see what kind of enemy they are. What do they do? These little stat blocks can really help you out.
For sure. Well, and like, as far as like the making the world bigger and all that, like, it's easy when we're like walking down the street. I'm like, who else is on the street? Like, maybe some homeless people and some business people. Like, yeah, but like, I wouldn't think of a graffiti artist. Maybe there's a graffiti artist tagging the wall.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a bartender that just got off shift. Like, I
Maybe
like
there's a slew
that this
of
makes you
wage
think of
slaves
those
that
things.
just exit one of the buildings up ahead.
Right.
Yeah. Or if you're hanging out at a bar, depending on what time, 15 minutes after 5, maybe a whole group of corporate wage slaves just walks in.
Come in and start doing karaoke and drinking heavily.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, so I love this DLC for the richness it provides to the world, for how it makes you, reimagine situations, what you can do. Even just giving character creation ideas. There's a few that we were like, I never thought of this. This would be really cool to explore.
Mm-hmm.
100%.
Check it out. It's worth the read. We went over a lot of the book just now, but there's legitimately still a lot of meat left on the bone, so it's worth checking out.
We did not go through the stats, and the stats have a lot of hidden information, so. And it's free, so go download it.
Right.
It's not gonna hurt.
Doesn't cost you anything.
And with that, I think that will conclude this episode of Night City Sofa.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you all so much for being here, for joining us today. If you're watching on YouTube, please remember to hit those like and subscribe buttons. They really, really help. And consider leaving a comment about your thoughts on this DLC. I would love to hear them. If you want to connect more with Edrunners HQ throughout the week, you can head on over to Blue Sky, Patreon, Reddit, Twitch, and YouTube. Remember, in Reddit, post your conspiracy theories. I'll try to make a thread post where you guys can all comment, but post your conspiracy theories so we can do a conspiracy theory show. I'd be so down for that. Night City Sofa will return next week We are, because I'm kind of in a weird state of being. We're actually going to talk about my Cyberpunk RED homebrew that's releasing on the 7th, so we'll release the day after we talk about it. So you get to find out what it is, a little bit more about what sparked its creation, that sort of stuff, as we figure out how to tackle Solo Fortune 2045. Because it's big, it's
There's
a
a lot
massive
there.
supplement, and we're going to break it up. I know that for sure. I don't know how we're going to break it up yet. So in the interim, we're going to chat about what I think is a really cool homebrew. So, should I tease it? Should I tell them what it is?
Yeah, I think it'd be alright.
Would it be alright? It is called Reforming the Law, and I have added some new options to the lawman's backup roll ability to make them more, in my opinion, narratively impactful. So if you're curious about update, no, changed, I don't know. If you're curious about my take on the lawman roll ability that still keeps the core rulebook lawman roll ability intact, stop by next week and come give a listen. I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah.
And with that, take care. Have a wonderful evening. And until next time, meow for now.